Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Megan Oldham on her sticks roots, that historic triple cork, and how Milano Cortina 2026 could mean redemption exclusive. The Canadian freeskier spoke one-on-one with Olympics.com ahead of the World Championships in Switzerland. She calls Eileen Gu a huge force and is also eyeing the podium at next year's Games. A competitive gymnast and figure skater growing up, Canadian Megan Oldham can recall the rule shift in her last year of gymnastics that in part led her to freestyle skiing. I remember the last year on the gymnastics team. It was this new structure where every athlete in the same level was doing the same song, the same routine, but just slightly different skills, Oldham, 23, told Olympics.com recently. And I think that for me was a wake-up call. This is really killing the fun for me. Already 14, Oldham was late to the game when it comes to an elite athlete, following in the footsteps of older brother Bruce, who had already become a must-see freestyle skier herself. Of flipping, spinning, and any sort of adventure, Megan immediately took to the creative nature encouraged among the freeski community. Exact opposite from gymnastics, Oldham explained. She continued, "You go out, and every day you're doing whatever you want. You're learning the skills that you think are cool, adding grabs that you think make the trick look better." I fell in love with that portion of it and just having my own expression when it came to doing a sport. Just over a decade later, Oldham is a world championship medalist, Winter X Games champion, and Beijing 2022 Olympian. This week, she joins her counterparts at the FIS Free Ski and Championships in Engadin, Switzerland, which takes place through 30. Megan Oldham, reflecting on her historic triple cork. The gymnastics and figure skating roots certainly don't hurt Oldham in her high-flying ways on the slopes. It was a combination of the three, in fact, that made her feel the most free in freestyle skiing. Being in the air, you get so much adrenaline from doing tricks and flips on jumps, she said. I just felt like when I started doing those, there's something really scary that you have in front of you, and then you do it and land it and everything's okay. It's just like this huge adrenaline rush of wow, I just did that. Oldham followed that feeling to the top of the sport and the history books. In January of 2023, she became the first female to successfully complete a triple cork in a ski or snowboard event on her way to yet another Winter X Games title. That was such a crazy moment for me. Oldham reflects some 2 years on. There had been so much lead up into learning that trick, and obviously so much fear that came with it, because it is a super dangerous trick, she added. If you fall, it's like one of those things where you're like, okay, I'm in the hospital. So I think the biggest feeling I had was just pure relief of wow, I've put so much effort and energy into this and I've done it and I'm okay. I feel like the mental side of learning that trick was the hardest because no girl's ever done it before, she said. Oldham said the biggest challenge was indeed the mental side of things, having used an airbag to train it on for 2 weeks leading to the event. That is a rather short time frame for such a high-flying endeavor. A triple cork consists of 3 distinct off-axis flips while simultaneously rotating horizontally. Her X Games landing was the first time she had ever performed it in front of a crowd. I felt like I really trusted my mind and my body together. Eileen Gu is a huge force and why she's motivated by Maggie McNeil. It was at Beijing 2022 that home hope Eileen Gu had a standout Olympics, becoming the first freestyle skier to win 3 medals at a single Games. Eileen is a huge force when it comes to freestyle skiing, Oldham described. I think she just has this energy when it comes to her riding, where she's very technical and very good under pressure. Added Oldham. I think she's done a ton for the sport. At the last Games, she obviously had some new tricks that blew everybody out of the water, and I think that was all like a shock and amazing for us to watch. It's so cool to see how much the sport has progressed, and she's really pushed that envelope. So it's really cool to see how much she's added to the sport. Gu is missing Worlds this fortnight. However, as she continues to recover from injury she suffered earlier this season, it's another gold medalist, fellow Canadian Maggie McNeil, a swimmer, whose Olympic triumph at Tokyo 2020 and 2021 that has served as a special motivation for Oldham, who, though she doesn't know McNeil, personally was wowed by her compatriot's story. I've never met her, and I don't really follow swimming closely at all, Oldham laughed. But watching her come back in that moment and win, I think just like I felt all of the hard work and emotion that goes into that, because I've experienced it too, she explained. There's so much build-up going into the games. You're sacrificing other opportunities in your life. So I think that just resonated with me, like, oh wow, she worked so hard for this. McNeil had been seventh place at the turn, storming back for an impressive victory over a loaded field. Seeing her dream come to life, and I was like, what, this is so cool. Will Milano Cortina 2026 be redemption? It's hard for anyone to imagine what being an Olympian would feel like, but even harder still to understand the pride and heartache in finishing in fourth place, just off the podium. That's where Oldham ended up in her debut at Beijing 2022 in the women's free ski big air. She doesn't harbor resentment around that placement, however. I think it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow because you're really proud of your riding, but at the same time, you're so close to what you said. I think the thing that helped me a lot was that I had performed the hardest tricks I could have possibly done in Beijing before she reasoned. So for me, and the fact that, you know what? Fair and square. I couldn't